coming, James. Really?
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the November meeting of the Charlotte County Airport Authority. This date, November the 17th. Ask you to please turn off your cell phones. Those who wish to join us for the invocation, please stand, and then the Pledge of Allegiance.
Shall we pray? Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we take this time to praise your holy name, and we just thank you for all that you do here at the airport, good and bad. But we thank you for the hedge of protection that you provide, physically, property-wise, financially-wise. And we just ask now, before this board meeting, that you grant us and bless us with increased IQ, critical thinking abilities, and discern our monthly business. And once again, we thank you for all you do for us, give you honor and praise, and please continue that hedge of protection for us. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Mr. Andrews, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Could everybody join me, please? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I guess the first item of business is the official swearing in of the two newly re-elected airport commissioners. Judge, you want us?
You can come down if you like, or you can stand up there, whichever you like better. All right. So we cheated. I showed them their oaths, so they received it. So they don't have to do this. Ms. Coppola was surprised when I swear in new lawyers. They're so nervous that I have to break it down to like 3 or 4 words sometimes. So this is a lot simpler for them. So Ms. Coppola, I'm going to take care of you first. Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and government of the United States
and government of the United States
and the state of Florida,
and the state of Florida,
and I am duly qualified to hold office
and I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties
and I will well and faithfully perform the duties
of Commissioner, Charlotte County Airport Authority.
of Commissioner of the Charlotte County Airport Authority.
I so swear you in, and I'll bring the paperwork up and we'll finish it, all right?
Thank you, Judge.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please say your name.
Robert Hansick.
Mr. Hansick, do you swear to tell the truth?
I do swear.
Boy, I tricked him. See, you thought it was going to be the same.
That wasn't on the oath.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
and government
and government
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Florida.
and the state of Florida.
And I am duly qualified
And I am duly qualified
to hold office
to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well
and I would well
and faithfully perform the duties
and faithfully perform the duties
of Commissioner,
of Commissioner,
Charlotte County Airport Authority.
Charlotte County Airport Authority.
You're sworn in.
Thank you.
All right. So let me do the business with folks. Can I roll the
Okay, while the judge is doing the paperwork, we can go for roll call.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Mr. Andrews?
Here.
Mrs. Oliver?
Here.
Mr. Hackett?
Here.
Mr. Hansick?
Here.
Mr. Parrish?
Here.
Mr. Hurston?
Present.
Mrs. Coppola?
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. You don't have a pen?
I gave her mine. It's tough. It's tough. down there and then fill this out and then go.
Okay.
Near the bottom part.
Thank you, Judge.
Carry on. Thanks, everybody. Ms. Copeland? Thank you so much. Thanks for letting me do the job.
Nice to meet you.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
You know, people don't clap for judges. Yeah, I appreciate it. Everybody safe.
Okay, item 6 on the agenda, citizens input. Anyone wishing to address the board, please come forward, identify yourself. Seeing none,
I do have some citizens' input to read.
go ahead.
All right, this one is from, hope I'm pronouncing the last name correct, Nick Islin, a 21-year-old resident of Port Charlotte. I noticed there were proposals to turn 417 Southern Speedway into a concert venue. I strongly oppose this decision. I've grown up in Port Charlotte, going to the Speedway many times as a young race fan. It helped fuel my love for motorcycles. I know there's many other young kids out there, like me, that love going to this track. Think about all the young racers hoping to achieve their dreams. Guys like Port Charlotte native Josh Williams, NASCAR Xfinity Series driver, and Ross Chaston, who was 2 positions away from winning the NASCAR Cup Series championship, that have raced here in the past and did that. I hope you take this input and keep the track. I have more. This one's from Holly Kigor. The racetrack is part of what makes Punta Gorda the place you want to live. Families enjoy watching racing teams compete, following their favorite drivers and providing a venue that is suitable for all ages. We are a small town, and bringing a festival venue to the area and losing the racetrack seems to cater to a different demographic without concern for those who have raced here or attended races for the last decade. With the numerous complaints of residents about airplane noise, how does a concert adapt to that? Attendees will expect to hear music, not airplanes, for their money. The racetrack has been on track with conditions of lease, improved fixed assets, and made it more attractive and viable. It is fair to penalize the good stewardship and terminate their lease by replacing them with a concert venue. I have another one. This one is from Christopher Benning. I live around the area of 417 Southern Speedway. I'm writing to voice my opinion on not renewing the lease for said property. I have been attending this facility for over 20 years of my life and have enjoyed every moment. I even bring small children and get them involved. The current owners are the sweetest people and have done every effort to make this place a blast. With the news of this being turned into a concert facility saddens me to death. We want to keep our community strong and offer a great environment for children. A concert venue would not be fun to me or my children. I hope you and all your members can take the time to talk about the community and our future for the community. I have one more. This is from Mackenzie Joseph. I'm incredibly sad that you are considering ending your lease agreement with the 10-4 Speedway. This family-owned business has done a tremendous amount for the community. They support the local elementary school along with providing family-friendly entertainment. It would be a shame to lose this Punta Gorda staple. That's all I have.
Okay. We'll address the lease of the racetrack property as a agenda item later. Okay. You want to speak now? You want to speak when we get to the agenda item? Want to wait for the agenda item? Okay.
Okay. It's up to you, Charlie.
We can go either way. You want? All right. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Joe Gentry with 417 Speedway. I just want to come up and thank the board, thank the airport for the lease, the 6 years, and no matter which way it goes. We did have the opportunity to meet with one of the other bidders, the Motor Brothers, and so we did actually check out some of their facilities because reading about families and stuff like that. And so on our note, me and Jim, it's 417 strongly endorses the Moto Brothers for it, because I did see their other facilities. They are set up for children and kids, and they do have the community in the best interest, in my opinion. So I did take time to go look at the other facilities, and they're set up just like they said they were. So I think they'd be good for the community, good for the racetrack, and good for the development of the airport. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else want to speak on the lease of the racetrack? Seeing none. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
None from me.
Okay. Do we have employee recognition, or we got somebody? Yeah.
Yes, we do have a
Yeah, I
few.
thought we had, yeah. Oh, yeah, I know this lady.
So, it's my honor to be able to present this award to Amelia today. Amelia is a member of the custodial team, and for the last 5 years that I've worked with her, she reliably shows up for shifts. She just puts her head down, digs in, and works hard to keep the airport clean, along with the rest of the team. As a person, she's kind, she's humble, very active at her church. She brings baked goods in for the team.
Oh, now you're talking.
Everybody appreciates her, respects her, and I just wanted to say thank you for, 5 years of excellent work ethic and contributing to the airport's success. So thank you.
Commissioners, Mr. Parrish, we have employee recognition for professional development again this month. I'd like to bring up Seth.
Behind you.
Here he is. Seth completed his FAA non-federal weather certification recently, actually before last month's meeting, but Seth had pretty significant damage to his house during the storm, and had been working on that during the last meeting, and was unable to make it. But with that, Seth has been here every day since the storm as well, while trying to get his house back together, and we appreciate that, so thank you, Seth.
Okay. Item 9, consent agenda. 2 items on it. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any further we have no discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Same sign opposed. Okay. Secretary Treasurer's report. Mrs. Coppola.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. I will defer to Mr. Parrish.
Sure. So this is the financial review year-to-date, which is also basically year-end review for the month of September. Notice we were, even with everything happening, we were slightly ahead of our budget for revenue and expenses. We expect to lose money in September. It's the slowest month of the year, and we did. So still has us for the year making about 5.7 million, of which we budgeted to make about 4 million, so we exceeded our budget by 1.6. Keep in mind that most of that money is through the year has been dedicated towards matching grants. We were extremely successful this year with grants, and we have to match 10% of those. And one of the reasons our budget amendment that we just approved was over by $18 million for grant expenditures and construction. So something to keep in mind. If we go on to accounts receivable, we had about 160,000 in accounts receivables total. 123 was Allegiant, and they paid that in full. That's their fuel upload fees and their turn fees. So our accounts receivables look pretty good, especially based on the fact that we had a hurricane and a lot of people are having a hard time, getting their businesses back up.
Yeah.
So we went over the income statement on the previous one. The balance sheet continues to be positive. I will note that our current assets are about 46 million. And again, a lot of that is already set aside for construction. We have the hangars and a lot of other things that are under construction that are totally funded by the airport. So keep that in mind when you look at the number. Any questions specific to the project?
I always like to, do you have a question, Ken?
No, I just wondered, how did we make out with the hurricane? Did we lose anything, or is insurance covering everything?
We'll probably have about $1.5 million of liabilities that are, part of our deductible and just non-insured assets.
So we have to make up that difference, and we're okay with that?
Yeah, we'll be fine. I mean, we'll have to dip into reserves, but we'll be fine.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I always like to mention, the board members receive these financials in advance of the meeting. They have an opportunity to review them. They're also available on the internet because they're quite detailed. What we try to give you here is a summation, but you can go on our website and take a look at all the financials in detail. Moving on, liaison reports. I'm up first, the City of Punta Gorda. I would like to recognize the fact that they had their re-swearing in of past and new city council members. Lynn Matthews was sworn in, and she will be the mayor. Bill Drybauer, who happens to be here, is newly elected, and a gal by the name of Donna Peterman, all elected to the City of Punta Gorda Council. And I'd like to extend an invitation to the entire Punta Gorda City Council, especially the new ones, to come out, and we can make arrangements to give you an update of what's happening out here and give you the 25-cent tour. So we'll have the staff kind of arrange that when there's a common time for everyone. So congratulations, and Bill, thanks for coming to our meeting. Board of County Commissioners, Mr. Andrews.
Yes, I have nothing.
Oh, wait a minute. We'll let you go on the tour too.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. Just as a comment, Mr. Dryberg is here because he's been the newly appointed liaison to the airport authority.
Oh,
And he's here today, so.
he didn't tell me that this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Well, welcome.
Welcome. I'm glad to be here. I'm your new representative from the Punta Gorda City Council, and I'll let you know that I'm proud of this airport. I'm proud of the job that you guys are doing. We're here in the spirit of cooperation, and wherever we can work together. I had a chance meeting with Mr. Redmond 2 weeks ago, and he is proud of this airport as well. He says great things are coming, and I believe the man. I think this airport's going to do nothing but grow and be better and better and better. As a flyer, I hope someday I can come out of that terminal and not get wet. So hopefully someday you'll work on that for me. Thank you, guys. I'll be here at every meeting. Trust me.
Thank you, Bill, and welcome.
Congratulations. Yeah, we need a fundraiser.
Okay, Mr. Andrews.
I have nothing to report. this month.
MPO, Mr. Hurston?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. My MPO meeting that was supposed to be held in Murdoch on October 27th was canceled and rescheduled for December 15th at 2:00 p.m. And I attended the MPOAC meeting October 27th, also on that day in Orlando. And I have the agenda package if anybody would like to review the contents of that. But I think two interesting things are happening on the MPOAC level, which the MPOAC is a state board consisting of all 26 or 27 MPOs. But we got a report from the MPOAC director where we are commencing a study on alternate transportation revenue sources in Florida for the replacement of the gas tax. And so I'm hopeful that the MPOAC will lead Florida, in that area. And then the second interesting thing was we received a presentation from a company called Drone Up. And there's a current program that's expanding here in Florida. We're kind of a leading edge technology on this, but it's supposed to grow to about a $60 billion industry by 2030. But you'd be surprised the number of customers they have. Amazon, Walmart, on delivery of retail products. But so anyways, that, and I missed my first rail freight committee meeting due to complications with my schedule. But other than that, Mr. Chair, economic development, it was busy before the storm, and now it's busier after the storm. But that's it, Mr. Chair. If anybody has any questions, and if anybody wants the package, I'll give it to our secretary. Thank you.
I have a question. I got a phone call yesterday, a recording that said drones will be going over my house between noon and 6 o'clock or something for the next week. What's that all about?
Well, it was probably either FPL or Comcast, and they're looking at all the, it's
The
much more
destruction and
efficient
stuff.
to look at their lines via a drone
Okay.
than sending people out to look at it.
So I went out right away and straightened my garden. I didn't want,
That sounds a little suspicious.
well, sorry.
What are we growing in that garden?
You'll never know. Irish.
Okay, moving on. Any state legislation?
Nothing much to report. As you all know, we have officially a new state representative. Spencer Roach is for Punta Gorda. Charlotte County during the redistricting process got split in two. So Mike Grant represents the northern and western side, and Spencer Roach does southern Punta Gorda. Committee weeks will start on December 12th and run through about the middle of February off and on. There will be weeks here and there, and then the regular session will convene on Tuesday, March 7th, 2023.
Do we have any state legislation, either individually or as a Florida airport?
Florida airports will be starting their weekly calls in about, I think 2 or 3 weeks. We have a list of items that are high priority, and I'll present those at the next meeting. Individually, I don't think we're going after anything this year. We met with the school, the CTC yesterday. They're looking at some private funding possibilities to get the extra money they need, so I don't think they're going after anything. We are trying to work through the additional monies that we've gotten from the feds and the state match for that. So I don't see us going after anything yet. Now, if we are not successful with DOT and getting some of those matches, then we may.
Okay. Well, I think it's important from a political standpoint that whatever fact is kind of going after, that there be an appropriate resolution from this board saying that we are in support of that as a political body, not just as an administrator. And I think that's important. Okay. Mr. Carr is obviously not here. We have your stand-in, Mr. Hackett. Anything to report?
Well, I'm pleased to be here on behalf of my partner, Daryl Carr, who sends his regards from Patagonia. And he'll be back next week in case anybody needs him. But I don't have anything specific to report. I'm up to date on the current activities that we have, so if you have any questions, I'll be happy to respond.
Anything from the commissioners? Any questions? Okay, moving on, item 13, the CEO's report, development update.
So I know you guys got a copy of the development update, and I don't know if you have any specific questions. We have sent out letters to all the people that are interested in going on the north ramp. We hope to start bringing leases, not the north side of the airport and the AVX, start to bring leases to the board in the next few months. We have a lot of interest. Probably will fill up the area between the proposed FBO hangar and the proposed CTC hangar, as well as wrapping around that ramp. And then we entered into a study to look at how we would develop the rest of that land. So that's moving forward. It's exciting to see the desire to build up there. We thought it would happen, and it is. 422 is ongoing. We should wrap it up by the end of next month and open that up, as well as continuing phase 2 of the wetland mitigation project. I think we got our permits 18 months after submitting, so government at its best. With 0 comments, by the way. It's exactly the way it was submitted. The new 60 by 60s, if you're out there, they have started scraping the ground and putting in the underground work, as well as the new T-hangars and the box hangars in the T-hanger area are starting. The fencing has been removed, and we're moving forward on that. Taxiway Delta reconstruction will start as soon as 422 completes, and we're having a pre-construction meeting today on that. We continue to work on the Perimeter Road project, which will move part of golf course and eliminate part of Golf Course Boulevard. Terminal seating is, Beth, terminal seating is coming along? Yes, sir. Okay.
Finally.
I think there's nothing wrong with the current seating, but apparently I'm the only one.
Except you see a lot of it in the dumpster.
Yeah. The M&O facility is finalizing design. We should be out for bids on that this is early in the new year. Self-serve facility, we're finalizing the design on that for the move and new self-serve facility in the T-hanger area, 200 T-hanger area. And inline baggage system is a long project, but it is coming close to an end, and we hope to bid that and see if we can get funding to construct it, as well as Taxiway Golf, which will be the connector from the new ramp to Taxiway Alpha.
Okay.
Any questions?
Jim, on the, if I may, Mr. Chairman, on the hangar construction, do we have room to keep continuing north if we need to?
We do. We
Okay.
have, I think, at least 3 more positions.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing none. Next agenda item.
Marketing
Miller.
update, Ms. Miller.
Hey, good morning. October was a busy month, obviously, with a lot of hurricane recovery related openings, what's going on at the airport, so a lot of communications related to post-Hurricane Ian. But we started moving forward, obviously, quickly, getting back on track, sharing communications about projects and what's going on. And we had a nice little employee lunch appreciation. There's some photos in the marketing report. And Commissioner Andrews and Hansick came out to that. So thank you for coming to that and for all your support through that time and supporting our employees as well. Also coming up December 10th is the Charlotte County Christmas Parade, and I think y'all all have that on your calendars. And the Canine Comfort Crew, the airport therapy dogs, are excited to participate as well. So I'll be working on some graphics for the float, maybe some paradise type festive things to incorporate the Fishing You a Merry Christmas theme. So if anybody has any ideas on that, let me know. And of course, we're just moving forward with planning for the next fiscal year, website redesign. And as we prepare for runway 422 to reopen, we'll have to kind of touch base on communications for that with the media and the communities to let them know flight patterns are going back to how they generally were in 2021. So that'll be interesting as well. So I'll be busy, but let me know if you have any questions and I'll try to address them. Thanks.
I think it might be well to mention what the two professional associations did for the hurricane and our benefit to that, both AAA.
Sure, so both AAA and ACI, as well as Florida Airports Council, made donations to airport employees that were affected. We were able to distribute $13,000 to our 7 most affected employees.
Oh, that's
And,
nice.
you know, I think everyone was very appreciative of it, and we'll be sending thank you letters to the associations for that.
Yeah, for those who don't know, AAA is the American Association of Airport Executives, and ACI is the Airport Council International, and in fact is the Florida Airports Council. I know we have a tendency to talk acronyms, and some of us know them, but most of us don't.
I have a book of acronyms in my office, if anyone wants to come read it.
Well, I'm glad you're keeping current.
In addition to those organizations, Michael Baker and several of their partners and employees donated to the United Way, our local fund here, that went back to helping our employees, as well as AECOM. So I think the corporate support is in addition to those wonderful organizations.
And then, you know, CDOG, which is the Southeast Disaster Operations Group, thank you. That kind of coordinates out of Savannah, all the Southeast. They sent a jet down full of stuff for us and onto Naples, as well as PIE sent some stuff. Tallahassee sent a lot of facilities that we needed. So the airports really pitch in when we need each other. It's nice to see.
Okay. Aviation report.
Good
Mr.
morning.
Duncan.
Yeah, so for the month of October, you'll see that the operations were down by almost 900 operations. That's all due to the hurricane when the airport was shut down for close to a week. As far as for, we got avgas. So avgas was down as well. You'll see that was down to 8,300 gallons. That again was due to the hurricane, and that was out of the truck. If it wasn't for the air center being operational, all these numbers would be significantly lower. Next slide. So the self-serve, that was down for just over a week. So that's why that number was significantly down from a previous month.
Yeah, just to keep everyone for their knowledge, self-serve is still running on generator. We hope next Friday it will be back, but the power serving it was ripped off the wall. It's a 3-phase power, and getting the parts to rebuild it and then getting FPL out to hook it up and try to coordinate that, because it does the shop, it does our auto gas, and it does self-serve. So we just can't take it offline for 2 days while we wait for FPL. So it's been a large coordination effort there. But that has taken self-serve offline a lot.
Next slide. And then for jet gallons pumped to the airlines, that was, this was just regular jet. That was down. But again, it would have been significantly lower had not the air center been open and we weren't able to serve all the response. And a lot came from helicopter operation, a lot more than we typically see. Next slide. And then airline gallons pumped, that of course is down again for due to the closure of the airport that couldn't serve commercial aviation for 5 days. 5 days.
And then just them having to ramp back up. It wasn't like they turned it back on when we were able to take it.
Correct. Correct.
Then,
Mr. Chair,
yeah.
is there any update regarding our request to the federal government to allow us to operate to Canada?
We were denied. We are working, we're trying to set up with a meeting with a gentleman who resigned. So we're going to wait until there's a new Border Patrol chief and set up a new meeting. So.
That would be a good market here. Yeah.
It would. The airline that we were really going after, I think, announced, well, they haven't announced, but they got approval, and it looks like they'll be announcing soon, and since we don't have it yet. But I think it's something that we definitely want to work on, you know, through our political partners and see if we can get it approved. There are only 2 airports that are, and it seems like a program that was meant for airports like us, but it's just not being used, so I'd like to be the 3rd.
Is there any proposal from them to say if we need customs up here because we have, say, a Canadian operation, that it would cost $3,000 or $4,000 to bring them up to handle a flight, and we can contract for that on an interim basis?
It's not the $3,000 or $4,000 for the personnel. It's the
Facility.
almost $8 million that Sarasota just spent to rehab their facility that would just take it.
We have a lot of FEMA trailers.
Yeah, you get the
Yeah, I know.
Border Patrol to operate out of a trailer. They are, I won't say prima donnas, but.
You just did.
I did? Is that on the record?
Okay. Any old business? Seeing no old business, we can move on to new business. First item.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Nominations are now in order for the office of the Chair of the Charlotte County Airport Authority. Are there any nominations for Chair of the Airport Authority?
Mr.
I'd
Attorney.
like to make a motion that we keep the board as is this year and forego the elections.
So you're basically nominating the slate as of the current board.
Yes.
Is there a second to that nomination, or that motion?
I would second that.
Is there a discussion on that motion? Is there a discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Sorry.
It's easier, we don't have to move.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Very high frequency.
Mr. Parrish is going to report on our VOR. It's part of the VOR range. It's historically old type of navigation. You had some information in your data package on basically disposal of the unit.
So our VOR, those of you who have been around for a while will recall that we were the only first world airport to buy a VOR. After Hurricane Charlie, our VOR was heavily damaged. We were able to keep the building and just put a new radar or a dome on top of it, as well as new antennas. The structure is from the 70s, and it did not make it through Hurricane Ian, which is not surprising. The cost to repair the structure is about $500,000, and then new equipment anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000. We haven't really looked into it. The VOR is although it's part of some of our procedures, it could be changed. The FAA in 1990 was supposed to turn off all of the VORs. They did not. They're still keeping some of them, but this is the only privately owned VOR in the state.
Wow.
And it's probably time to turn it off instead of spending $500,000 to put it back online. It is land-based navigation. It's been completely supplanted by satellite-based navigation. It is probably not as necessary anymore with the addition of our ILS to to runway 4. So it's our recommendation that we proceed with decommissioning it through the FAA.
Is there, question, is there any interest by the FAA of reinstating it with their funds and their maintenance cost? I would think not.
I would push for them to take over our ILS before our
Yeah.
VOR, but no, there is not. It's not an en route VOR, so it serves
Yeah.
no purpose for them.
What would be the benefit of keeping the VOR?
It's, the VOR stands for Visual Omni Range.
Yeah,
It's,
the only benefit is, and when we thought about decommissioning it last time, there are planes that still use it. There are specifically some of the planes that fly out of the country have to use it, and having it lets them do some maintenance on the airfield. That is not, $500,000 so a few people can do maintenance. There are the VORs, there's federally maintained VORs in Sarasota, I think Page or RSW, and throughout the state there are federal VORs. We, like I said, the only locally owned VOR, and again, it is a terminal VOR, so only used, it's not an en route.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to allow staff to work with the FAA on decommissioning the VOR located on the Punta Gorda Airport, south of taxiway Charlotte.
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
okay, we have a motion and a second allowing staff to work with the FAA on decommissioning our local VOR. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign, no. Motion passes. Okay, new business. Item C, the RFP, the request for proposals for non-aerial land lease, basically the 417 racetrack.
So we, as required by the FAA, put out an RFP for proposals at the end of their current lease. And we received 3 417 Motor Brothers and Smugglers Event Management. Based on fair market value, the rent structure, we deemed Motor Brothers and Smugglers to be the highest scoring in that. Keep in mind, the FAA does require us to get, and they did tell us at the beginning of the last lease when they approved it that they would not approve another under fair market value lease for this venue. So that's why we went out. That's okay. And so you have the proposals were sent to you. We would like to allow Motor Brothers and Smugglers to make a quick presentation to the board, and then the board can ask questions. There are some, some information in your packet about the two. While Motor Brothers has a higher monthly rent, they are also asking for an additional 7 acres as part of theirs. Smugglers is looking at the acreage with they may come back and ask for additional acreage in the future for proposed parking. I think both will have some ECAP issues that we'll have to work through with them, the zoning around the airport, but it'll be up to the board how we proceed.
Mr. Parrish, if I may, Mr. Chairman, Jim, could you, I know on your some considerations for board to evaluate, the very bottom comment about commercial retail uses that do not meet the location criteria of 3-9-48D2 may be approved by special exception. Are you saying that this site does not meet the commercial retail site locations?
I'm just saying, without knowing exactly what they're putting there, ECAP is very restrictive, and I think
Very restrictive.
the existing use is not allowed, and the new two would be required to get special exceptions, I believe, in my opinion. Now that's going to be up to the leasee to work through that.
Right.
And
But
that's-
I just would like to point out that under the ECAP, as long as that location, that commercial retail use is on an arterial or a collector, that it is
The
permitted?
commercial retail is not the problem,
Okay, so it's just the use?
the use in
proposed
general,
use,
yes.
okay.
So either one would have to have an ECAP approval.
I think either one's going to have to get, to convince the county that it fits into ECAP. I've never been a fan. As the previous director knows of the ECAP, we have worked to modify it as much as possible. The great thing about it was it kept residential out of the airport vicinity, but it does limit some things. So I'd like to invite the two up to give their presentations. We're going to allow Motor Brothers to go first if they're here.
So I'm Jason Meyer. I just want to kind of tell you a little bit about, who we are and what we do. So let me go to the next slide. Basically, I had retired early, and I'm not somebody that can retire, as my wife has found out. Have a very big love for my kids and the sport, and I think my retirement lasted about 2 months until I could not do it any longer. So it's not kind of dedicated myself to building the sport of motocross, okay? It's been hard for a lot of tracks and facilities because with land properties going up so much in value, a lot of these tracks and facilities are closing the doors to go ahead and let, sell the properties and become developments and things like that. So it's a downside to me to see that because nowadays kids are stuck inside on their iPads and Xboxes and PlayStations, and I hate to see that. When I grew up, I was on a bicycle, having fun, outdoors. COVID kind of helped the outdoors thing a little bit, but I would just hate to see that fall and just continue. So what I did is I created a company to go ahead and start acquiring different tracks. So we had acquired a track in Okeechobee and renovated that and really kind of trying to elevate the sport a little bit, kind of take a lot of the tracks are just run down, they're just, dirt tracks. I'm trying to build that up into more of a professional atmosphere for the amateur rider, the kids and families. So basically we started doing that. Since then, Palm Beach has reached out to us, so we're working with Palm Beach to go ahead and do a park over there. And we are also working right now on 2 more facilities in North Florida, and we're trying to work on this facility here. So we do have in Punta Gorda, there are 2 current motocross parks. There was Sandlot, okay, which that is now sold to become a development, and there's also 74, which that is currently for sale to be an RV park, okay? Okay, so other thing with this too is it's a little more at home for me because a lot of the other facilities that we're doing are further away from my home. So I live right here, I live right now, but my corporate office is in Fort Myers, so this is a little more essential for me. Okay, can we go to the next slide?
Wait, bye.
Yeah, go ahead.
Spoiled for a day trip. We're living lavish out here. You have to do it big here at Moto Bros. Not sponsored. Okay, I paid my $50. Pretty expensive, but we'll see if it's worth it or not. They say this is the best track in Florida.
Wow.
Moto Bros is an awesome track. They revamped this place and we did a spectacular job, but it used to be full sand track and now we have ruts that we can practice in the corners. We get shop that we can practice on, and it's like, I don't know, to me it's mind blowing. It's my hometown track. I've been coming here since I about to head back out. This place is unreal. The fencing, the water, the beach. Again, this is not sponsored, okay? I paid my $50 to get in and ride. Pretty expensive. But it's honestly pretty worth it. I got music on the fence.
So essentially, this video was taken from some of the videos that were online. So if you go ahead and Google the company, Google what we're about, you'll see that there is nothing but good things put out about the company. Okay. He said the prices were a little high, and they are a little bit more, but we also did, get that facility, and we put about $5 million so far into that facility. So, but again, it's become one of the most popular tracks in Florida in a very short period of time.
Where is it again?
It's in Okeechobee.
Okeechobee.
Yeah, essentially, we were there for one of my son's races, and I found out the track was for sale, and somebody was going to be buying it and making a private residence. And I looked at my wife, and I was like, well, I'm not coming here. I don't want to see another track disappear. And somehow we left there owning the track, and so now it's something we're doing. Now, as far as experience, I'm definitely not, not experienced in, business. I still own multiple businesses, but my main business was insurance, which I retired from. So, as far as business goes and experience, I'm very, very experienced in many businesses.
Mr. Chair, if I may, just a quick question for Jason. On your proposal on your lease payments, in your opinion, is it a triple net lease? You're going to pay sales tax plus real estate taxes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. So currently, if you go ahead and look at what our plans are, so we'd be converting the current track infield into a motocross supercross application. Okay. In there, we'd be doing all renovation on all the lighting, all the facilities, all the buildings, because that's one of our big things is we're creating this Moto Bros brand, but I want people to expect when they go to the facility for it to be an upscale facility. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of renovation, a lot of work that we have to do in order to create that. So we'd be doing all that. We'd be doing renovation of the parking areas. So that's why we're looking for the additional parking on the bottom to be able to accommodate that. Okay. We can go to the next slide. So that way you guys can kind of see what this typically looks like on an infield to stadiums. That's pretty much where we're at. Okay. If we can go to the next slide. So in talking with the current people that are running the Speedway and Joe, they would highly be interested in staying. So we're trying to work out a deal that they would be able to stay and still facilitate and continue their use of the Speedway for the cars. So if this is something that we can work together, that would be great. In addition to that, I would like to go ahead and submit a bid. Parking, another parking area for the left, another motocross track with that 14 acres, and then up above that, doing a different type of business, which would be a storage facility, which would be the 9 acres north of that.
Are you talking self-storage?
Yeah, it's going to be more RV storage.
RV storage.
So if you look, RV storage is very, very limited right now. They're on waiting lists everywhere. I'm currently in the process of doing a luxury RV storage lot down in Fort Myers. So, and then this would be more outdoor and covered facility.
Frequency of use of the motor track. I mean, is it open all week where people can go and practice?
Yes. Yeah, so typically what we do is we have the facility open 3 to 4 days during the week and the weekends. So we're typically closed 2 days out of the week. Okay, and it's more family. It's all about the kids. Okay, it's not about the professional rider. For me, it's all about kids, children. It's a place they can come. They can rent motorcycles. They can do it with their parents, with their families. We do training clinics. We do birthdays. I mean, we've had weddings. You know what I mean? It's all about the children and the family aspect. So that's why when we do this, we do a lot of different things for the kids. So that's why you see we do those little e-bike races and STACYC races and all these one-wheel events, and it's about the children. So
and you talked about putting in lights. How late do you go into the evening?
we don't go into the evening currently at all. What I would like to do is some evening race events there. but that wouldn't go anywhere past 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock would be the absolute cutoff.
Anyone else? Question?
Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks.
Right. And Smugglers was the other entity, and
Good morning. My name is Jerry Cluffey. I'm the general manager of Smugglers Event Management, located right here in Punta Gorda. And first of all, I want to thank the Airport Authority for the opportunity to give our presentation today. Our vision for the Speedway property is to create a multi-use event site that has open space for larger events, as car shows, boat shows, concerts, festivals, and sporting events, as well as create a more intimate space for corporate events and private parties. Smugglers Events has been organizing events and festivals here in Charlotte County for over 12 years. And our parent company, Smugglers Enterprises, has been in the food, beverage, and catering business in Charlotte County for 40 years. We also operate restaurants in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and in Tampa, Florida. Our existing events are some of the most popular and draw attendees from all over Southwest Florida. In addition, we organize several community events, such as the annual 4th of July Fireworks and Festival in Lashley Park and the annual Christmas tree lighting event in downtown Punta Gorda. In addition to our events, we have managed the city marketplace property in downtown Punta Gorda for the last 8 years. And not only do we have vast experience in creating and managing events of all kinds, but we have a significant client list of planners and promoters that are ready to utilize this new larger venue. And we also work with the Visitors Bureau to promote and attract events to the local area. Smugglers' commitment to the community is well documented through the over 25 different nonprofit and charity organizations that we help support here in Charlotte County. Our roots have been here in Charlotte County for over 3 decades, and we provide over $300,000 in cash and in-kind donations to our nonprofit partners each and every year. Our plan is to renovate the existing property, utilizing many of the existing structures which all need repairs, updating, and modifications. The track and most of the banking will be removed and repurposed on site. The track and the infield will be leveled and grassed with underground utilities to be used for festivals, concerts, and trade shows. There will also be dedicated parking area, short-term RV sites for multi-day events, and a permanent covered stage. Our existing bleacher area would be renovated into the Smuggler's Party Deck, utilizing a combination of fixed food and beverage structures that would be constructed with shipping containers, as well as renovated landscaping and seating areas. Additional mobile structures will be used for food and beverage, ticketing, and office space. These structures will also be repurposed shipping containers. Several permanent pavilions will be constructed to provide shade, which will be used for like VIP areas, additional seating areas, and a shell to construct our haunted houses, which we have partnered with Charlotte High School for the last 12 years. Continuing with that popular shipping container theme, we will construct a grand entranceway of stacked containers to give the new event space an updated look. These will house box offices, security office, and storage facilities. Smuggler's ultimate goal is to create a multi-use event destination will add significant value and exposure to the airport community. I just want to clarify too that it's not a concert venue. It is a true multi-use plan. We do all types of events, from concerts to food festivals to boat shows to many family-friendly events. Events here at the new venue will draw visitors from all across Florida, and our partnership with the Punta Gorda Englewood Beach Visitors and Convention Bureau will attract new events and visitors from all over the county. Again, thank you for this opportunity. You're welcome to answer any questions you have.
If if I may, Mr. Chair. Would you guys continue to lease and maintain City Marketplace in downtown?
No, that
Punta Gorda?
property is no longer available. It's
Okay.
slated for development.
I got you. Thank you.
The only question I would have is I see there's the different pictures, the amount of people that are in your audiences here. Do we have the roads and everything to handle all that traffic?
Yeah.
Do? Okay.
For discussion on basically two proposals.
Mr. Chair.
Wow, it's difficult.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, also, I wanted to bring up our Vice President of Operations, Kelly Evans, would like to speak real quickly.
Sure.
Sorry.
There's like a million people here.
Yeah.
Hi, Kelly Evans.
Hey, Kelly.
Our parent company, Smugglers, has been in business for over 40 years in Punta Gorda, as Jerry mentioned. And we were just recognized by the Punta Gorda Chamber of Commerce as the 2022 Large Business of the Year. Over the last 15 years, we added our event management company, brought Jerry on. He also does our fishing tournaments, which are very popular. We built Lashley Crab House. We added our restaurant in Pigeon Forge, and most recently our restaurant in Tampa. As Jerry said, our roots do remain in Punta Gorda. We contribute over $300,000 annually to local nonprofits, including Habitat, CARE, and the Boys and Girls Club. We have held most of our events in downtown Punta Gorda. We utilize Lashley Park, which is next to Lashley Crab House. Unfortunately, City Marketplace is slated for development, so the airport property was identified as a potential site, and we think that we have the best use of the property. We're interested in leasing the additional 7 acres as part of our long-term lease, and we would also extend our previous lease term offer. So we look forward to working with you to hopefully build our permanent home for our event management company. Thank you.
Any further questions? Hearing none, let's open it up for the discussion and the board's feel.
Well, Mr. Chair, if I may, I found both proposals absolutely wonderful, and I appreciate everyone who submitted proposals. And I also want to thank the Speedway for their years here in Charlotte County. I know that you've made a difference. I've heard from lots of people who just really loved having you all here, and you've been a really special part of our community for a long time. So I want to thank you for that. I think both proposals are amazing, a really different use for that property. For me, the edge goes to Smugglers just based on their history and roots deep here in Charlotte County in particular, and their long history and commitment to our community in particular. And for that reason, I would make a motion that we accept the proposal for development submitted by Smugglers Event Management.
I think hear all the discussion before we get
Yeah.
motions.
No, I just tag on Commissioner Oliver's comments. I agree. I like the multi-purpose. I like it's a it's a Charlotte County-based operation, but probably that tips. But I like multi-purpose, and it just gives far more use to the property. So, but I'm done.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I think it's important to everybody recognize we have Bruce Lashley out in the audience, and he's a major factor here in this county and this region, and he's done a great job always. But I have a question for the Motor Brothers real quick. Is it my understanding that the Speedway would stay in place for 417, and that what you would propose goes on to a separate parcel? Is it correct?
Yeah, that was.
Is that correct?
Intent when we looked at additional parcels after I was talking to Jones wife. Because again, we've seen a lot of things online about keeping the Speedway. So a lot of people were upset about that and putting that out there. So that's something that we would be interested in doing, and getting additional properties to continue the motocross and vision, and continue to work with Joe to keep the
So would that be a sublease you're talking about, or would that be,
No, they said that they would come and work from over.
okay. Thank you.
They would incorporate into each other. I'm sorry.
Your turn.
You're right.
You're right.
No, I would say that you would incorporate into each other, or you would buy him out, or you're two separate entities?
I mean, it's two separate entities.
Okay.
So Motor Bros would be the one coming into the property, but they would come and work for Motor Bros to continue to maintain the speedway. Even though we would do some different things with the APO and everything else, but they would continue the car racing and everything.
Okay. I'm a fan of the Speedway. I've ridden around the track and with some of the drivers and convertibles, and it was a lot of fun several years ago. So I am a Speedway fan, and this is a difficult decision because I see, are we looking monetary, and are we looking at different entertainment venues for our community? How are we supposed to look at this from our point of view as an airport? Is it a money thing? Is it an income thing?
That's one factor, certainly.
Right. And then the community, is there liability more with one than the other that we have to worry about? That's a difficult decision because I like them both. Can we have them both?
We have a lot of land out there.
I'll throw out my comments. I think we got two excellent.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to throw out an idea. It's just an idea. Not all the details have been worked out with staff on leasing and requirements and all this stuff. There's still things to be addressed before we actually get into a situation where we're going to.
Where it's definite.
Maybe what we look at is, you got two proposals. Maybe we should look at saying the number one proposal is X and number two is Y. And if you can't come to an agreement with number one, you go to number two. And I like the idea of working with the previous landowner, Mr. Gentry, and keeping the racetrack.
Yeah, I like-
Across and all this kind of solves questions, answers some questions. But again, neither one have got to the point where we're ready to sign on the dotted line.
Yeah, there's negotiating yet to do.
Yeah,
There's all kinds of details to work out.
I think maybe it's up to the board, with the consensus of the board is how they want it.
So you want to do more investigation, or?
I think you pick who's number one and who's number two.
Yeah, just
And then
like,
number one would come in and have to sit down with staff and address all these other issues that are out there, you know, the ECAP, the additional land rental, all that kind of stuff has to be worked out administratively. And I guess that at this point, I look at them are fairly equal, and it's just a matter of a personal opinion whether you want to go with the motocross or the swimmers.
Do we look at the liability of each one? Are we,
Yeah, they both, obviously.
to us?
Yeah, they're gonna have insurance. Both of them seem to be obviously financially strong if you look at what they proposal. So
That's
I don't
true.
think
That's my big thing, liability. Someone gets hurt or?
Mr. Chair, or Mr. Parrish, actually.
yeah,
Would there be a way that we could, say, award a proposal today and yet staff could continue negotiating? Because again, I think it would be a great benefit to our community to have both of these proposers here.
so I guess what staff
I
needs
agree.
direction from the board is, obviously, we're not proposing a lease today, so this is just a direction. There are 100-some-odd acres out there that could be used for multiple things, so I would like to begin negotiations with one and then work with the other. You know, ultimately, I think we're probably going to have to give both of them about 90 days of due diligence to get into everything to make sure they can proceed, do a little engineering, pre-engineering, and then bring back a lease to the board for one and or both entities. But we need direction or to start with one and then go to the other if we can't.
Well,
Or both.
Mr. Parrish, I would reiterate the motion that this board award the proposal, or award the bid to Smugglers Event Management as presented today.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion that, second, that negotiations continue with Smugglers as a venue for the existing 417 racetrack.
And mind you, this is only for preliminary negotiations. This is not.
Yeah, we would bring back a lease, a fully negotiated lease.
So.
Any further discussion?
Well, you would not negotiate with the others? Or-
That can be a separate motion that we'd like to continue to discuss.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, go ahead, Commissioner.
I think we can handle that separately following this motion.
Okay.
But, Mr. Chair, Jim, I think I heard you say that staff was looking for a direction to basically negotiate with the firms as ranked and presented.
Yes.
Is really what we're looking for.
As ranked and presented.
Yeah, so I
So
mean,
they would split
like
number
with any
one.
engineering,
Yeah.
engineering firm or
Like
construction, we always present it, and then if we can't come to negotiated terms with there, first we go to number two. I mean, I think we would also enter into negotiations with number two on alternate locations, because obviously our goal is to lease as much of the property as possible.
Has that been established?
What?
Would they do that?
We
Or you
have not
haven't
had
talked
those
to-
discussions.
Well, we have a motion, a second. We're open for discussion, question the attorney. Can we take a poll of the board members on who they like for one? Who they like for-
No, I think that what staff is asking for is basically you identify your preferred bidder.
Right.
You know, and once you have a preferred bidder, you go forward with the negotiations with that preferred bidder. And if those negotiations come to something that they want, that needs to be presented to the board for approval, then great. If not, then you go forward with your second bidder. Now, you can also have discussions with your second bidder, you know, that's either in terms of backup to this, if this does not go forward with the preferred bidder, or on another parcel, which would be fine. But I think staff is looking for, pick one right now, and we'll negotiate with it, and if that happens, then great. If it doesn't, then we'll move on.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, we had multiple people interested in this parcel, which is the reason we went out to RFP. If the second bidder is interested in the other lands, we could just enter into negotiations for a lease on those.
So, well, basically, we have a motion to consider moving forward with the details of the lease document at this time with Smugglers. That's where we are.
Correct.
So, I think we should all, let's take a written, let's poll the board on how we want to go individually rather than group.
Well, I'll start. I listening to.
How you vote? Yes?
Oh, I'm going to vote. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
I'm in favor of the motion as presented, to negotiate with number one.
No.
There we go, no. That's 3-2.
Right. Motion carries.
Staff will work with Smugglers and also work with Motor Brothers to see if there's alternative locations for their proposal.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the facilities that already exist that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, board.
Okay, back to the agenda item. Any public comments? Inviting public comment. Commissioner Deutsch. Stephen R., you want to speak?
All this junk.
Mr. Murphy.
Greg Murray, City Manager. I just wanted to reiterate what Commissioner or Councilman Dryberg had said about working with the Airport Authority. We're very pleased he's able to be here and be our liaison with the City Council. Being an Air Force person, I know he has a love of aircraft and the airport itself, so we think that's a very good fit and look forward to working with you as we move the city and the airport specifically forward. Appreciate the time we've been able to spend just talking over issues with the director and what the airport board and council has done to come together and really help us move the community and the city and the county forward. So thank you very much. We look forward to Councilperson Dryberg's tenure and working with the airport authority even more closely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no one else, Commissioner's comments.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for being here, and I don't have a whole lot. I think just like everyone else in this community, I've been a little preoccupied with storm damage and things like that, and dealing with insurance companies and so forth, so I'm very thankful, and that our house did survive, and it's habitable. So I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you all. Take care. Have a safe holiday.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is great to see Commissioner Deutsch and the newly elected councilman from the city of Punta Gorda, and Gary, good to see you. We have one of our great engineering firms here in the audience, Kimley Horn, but staff did a great job, as always. Can you believe it's like the middle of November already? I mean, I can't believe it. We're just a few days away from Thanksgiving. But anyways, that was a tough call on the racetrack. They were pretty equal. I think Mr. Lashley's prominence, I think, we've got a long relationship with the Lashleys. But with that being said, happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and God bless.
I echoed your sentiments for happy Thanksgiving, and I am a little disappointed in the motocross because I have a 6-year-old grandson that would probably be on that motorcycle riding around. He's got that spirit. But I wish you luck in the future. I just wish you could stay and maybe develop another piece of property here with some help maybe from some financial groups or whatever. But also welcome Lashley, and we know his reputation is phenomenal, so either way, it's good. I guess we have our personal choices and our wants and needs. But it was an interesting discussion, and thank you for coming, and thank you for being here. And I wish you luck in the future, and I hope that we can have a continuing some kind of relationship here. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank the voters for voting us in for another 4 years, and appreciate the vote of the board members on making the current officers. Everybody has a great Thanksgiving. It's been a tough meeting, but we'll be looking forward to the next 4 years. We've got a lot to do. Meeting adjourned.
Done.